people like me. You need people like me so you can point your f***ing fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
News.
Hey y'all, Shitty Fuchs. I just won the WBC Interim Super Flyweight World Championship belts. I'm feeling good. I'm proud of my success. Back here in Vegas at DLX Boxing, chilling and relaxing after my big fight, taking it all in. Also supporting my bestie, Michaela Mayer, who fights September 27th, challenging Sandy Ryan for the WBO belts. So don't forget to catch that. Just happy with everything and excited for the future. And I will let you guys know what's next for me.
Virginia Fuchs will sit out what remains of this year. She has been suspended by the California Athletic Commission until February of next year, likely so that she can heal, fully recuperate from not just the fight, but the injury that she suffered in that fight, that dislocated thumb. What initially looked like a break turned out to be a dislocated thumb that they popped back into place. But the dislocation was so severe that the bone popped out of the skin. It was pretty gross and will take a lot of time to heal. If that's any testament to Virginia Fuchs' toughness, according to her, she didn't really know how bad it was until the fight was over and the gloves and hand wraps were removed. She fought through it, managed to win a points decision in hostile territory in Los Angeles, where Adelaida Ruiz hails from. And so Virginia Fuchs is now WBC interim champion, most in line to challenge Ashley Gonzalez for the full WBC title. Ashley Gonzalez, who sports professional record of 16 wins with 2 losses, no draws, 7 knockouts. Ashley Gonzalez, who like Adelaida Ruiz, has a lot more pro fights, a lot more rounds in the bank than Jenny. But if I like Virginia Fuchs' chances against Ashley Gonzalez, it's because it's been a long while since Ashley had a fight. And to my knowledge, she doesn't have another one coming up. Ashley Gonzalez became WBC champion by beating then-champion Lourdes Juarez in October of 2022. They had an immediate rematch the following year in March, and that was the last time that Ashley saw action. In March of last year, over a year ago. I haven't heard any news about Ashley Gonzalez having a fight scheduled for what remains of this year. There's still time, though to my knowledge, Ashley Gonzalez is not with a major promoter of any kind or a well-to-do promoter of any kind, north of the border or south of the border, which might explain why she hasn't seen action since the Lourdes Juarez fight. If she doesn't fight before this year is out, and her next fight turns out to be the Jenny Fuchs fight, well, Jenny Fuchs will have seen action in the last 12 months, and Ashley will have considerable ring rust that she needs to shake off. There is that to consider, but there is also the fighter's methodology. The Adelaida Ruiz fight for Jenny was a good rehearsal for the Ashley Gonzalez fight, because Adelaida, like Ashley, is a very aggressive fighter. They're not that different. Granted that Ashley is a bit more experienced than Adelaida was, though if you've seen them both in action, you'll know they're similar. They're the same kind of fighter. The experiences that Jenny had with Adelaida Ruiz will service her in the Ashley Gonzalez fight. Ashley, who has yet to satisfy a mandatory as reigning champion, has yet to satisfy a mandatory for the WBC that has yet to call one. Now that Jenny is installed as interim champion, it's conceivable that they will, at their next convention. But wait a minute, if Adelaida Ruiz was already interim champion going in, why didn't the WBC call the mandatory then? No money. No money on either side of it, as neither Ashley Gonzalez or Adelaida Ruiz were with a major promotional outfit that has a broadcast deal, bringing broadcast money to the table. That's likely why. If over a year has come and gone, and the WBC didn't order Ashley to satisfy a mandatory for them, that would likely be the reason. Virginia Fuchs has bumped Adelaida Ruiz off. She is interim champion now. And when she returns, I've no doubts, she's gonna be gunning for Ashley, because for Virginia, time is of the essence. She's very talented, very good, and well-schooled. But she's no spring chicken. She's in her mid-30s. She's got to get a move on. With only 4 professional bouts in her CV, she's got to hit the ground running next year. I give her good odds to beat Ashley Gonzalez. In truth, I give Ginny good odds to beat any of the 4 champions at Superfly. The Superflyweight division that has stood divided because none of the 4 champions at this weight are with a major promotional outfit that could help them unify the division. Thus, it stays divided. I would give Ginny very good odds to beat an inactive champion in Ashley Gonzalez or an aging champion in Irma Garcia, the 2 tougher fights. Tougher champions. Japan's own WBO champion, Mizuki Hiruta, or Argentina's own WBA champion, Clara Lescurat. She should probably save those 2 for last. That if she fights Ashley and she beats her, she should then target Irma Garcia. See what the future holds for Virginia Fuchs. That was Brian Norman Sr.'s reaction to Matchroom losing the purse bid for Ennis versus Chukadzian 2. Brian seemingly splitting his sides over this. He can laugh now. He who laughs last is the one who laughs best. I think he's mistaken if he thinks he's having the last laugh. And so his son's next fight on the undercard of Keyshawn Davis versus Gustavo Lemos, his son's next fight has been officially announced. And what you have to ask yourself is, well, for the money that you turned down with Boots, what are you gonna make fighting this guy? Obviously not what Matchroom offered you. Then again, the real virtue for them, the real virtue in turning down Matchroom's offer isn't money per se. You're not going on to make more money. The virtue is you don't have to fight Boots. You didn't really want to fight Boots. That's why you're so happy, because now you don't have to. I've seen so many saying that, well, Brian Norman Jr., Brian's young. He's got plenty of time to build himself up. That's the mistake that a lot of fighters make, the mistake that a lot of people make, thinking that they have time. The luxury of time, much like the luxury of choice, is fleeting. And you better not lose to Derek Cuevas. You better not. After having rejected what you rejected from Matchroom, you better not lose to this guy, because if you do, nobody's gonna feel sorry for you. I won't. Many disgruntled boxing fans laying into Brian Norman and his team. A Twitter user that goes by the name The Spirit of Competition says, it was not $800,000 you were offered, Brian Norman. It was $1.7 million. Why is your dad out here running with the nonsense on these podcasts? To which Brian responded, I walk away with 110 and still get taxed for the 1.7. That doesn't sound like a good deal for a unification to me. Well, someone should ask Brian, who is making you a good deal? Who's making you a better deal for a unification than Matchroom? Are you now expecting the PBC to offer you more money than Matchroom just did? Do you think the PBC is going to give you $2.2 million to fight either Mario Barrios or a Montestanionis? Let's cut the crap, because I've said all that already. The real issue isn't the money. If you liked your chances against Jaron Ennis, you would have took the deal. You would have took the money, because you fight for less money than that all the time. So the problem ain't the money. The problem is you're scared. Why anyone would celebrate the Normans as scared negotiation tactics is beyond me. Scared money don't make money. That's what they say. In that tweet, Brian Norman acknowledges that the final offer was $1.7 million, where some people are saying that Eddie Hearn is lying and he didn't offer him that much, or whatever narrative they're running with now. Brian Norman himself is acknowledging that what he was offered was $1.7 million. Eddie wasn't lying. You guys are just stupid. How many other fighters have we seen make this same move and have it blow up in their face In just the last 5 years, how many fighters? So a Twitter user that goes by the name Boxing Kingdom said, I spoke to Brian Norman Jr. earlier about Jaron Ennis, and Brian said, I will fight anyone.
No, you won't.
I'm already a world champion. I have already risked a lot and won when I wasn't expected to win. My price is different now. Being a world champion, the business must make sense, and it seems that the only way the business makes sense to the Normans is if Matchroom offers them money that no one else is going to offer them, including their own promoter. So you figure you'll just bide your time and play it safe on the top rank side of things, squatting on that belt because you don't think you can lose on your own side of the street, huh? Emmanuel Navarrete. He lost on the top-ranked side of things. He lost to Dennis Berenchik, Oshaki Foster. He lost on the top-ranked side of things. He lost to Robson Conceição.
He lost.
Do you remember that Puerto Rican kid the top rank was invested in for all of 15 seconds? Do you remember when he lost to Jose Zepeda? Do you remember when he got knocked out? Do you remember when top rank was invested in that young kid, Gabe Flores, until Luis Lopez beat him up? And do you remember that they were invested in Luis up until Angelo Leo beat him up? And you think you're safe on the top rank side of things. You think they won't put you in a sink or swim situation, likely for less money than what you were just offered.
How naive.
This is all about fear, folks. This is all about turning fear into a grift. Because you're afraid of Jaron Ennis. You're not going to say that, but that's what you are. If you're willing to fight other people for way less money than what they offered you,
It's because you're not afraid of them, but you are afraid of him.
and the losers and B-sides of the world are the only ones that sympathize with your mentality, your mediocre mindset.
Mediocre!
They're the only ones that can relate with these scared negotiation tactics.
Mediocre!
So I guess that you guys would rather see Brian price himself out and end up in a pointless filler fight than see him accept a career high purse for a unification match. I guess that's more fun to you, more entertaining.
Mediocre!
It's gotta be, because the end result of their money moves is we get 2 pointless filler fights instead of a unification match. And this was our best bet to get one. This was their best bet to make a lot of money.
They're so goddamn scared you can't get them to do it because they don't believe in themselves.
He's 23 years old. This is the age where he's supposed to be the hungriest, where he's supposed to be at his most ambitious. And what he's looking for is a retirement fund at 23 years old.
A retirement check.
No, you don't believe in yourself, because if you did, you would have took that career high purse with the security that you can take this guy, and when you do, you'll get a profile boost and even more money out of him.
Beating Boots would have made a big splash. Beating Cuevas.
That doesn't do anything for your profile, and all it makes you look like is like you're scared.
Because you are scared.
Welcome to the American boxing scene, where fear, outright fear, is disguised as business savvy.
Business acumen.
You're just scared.
That's the fight, that I think people see as the number 1 and 2 in the division. I mean, we've both got fights in the meantime. But I said, look, I'll be ready November, December. The reason he said we got offered it 10 weeks out, that's long enough for a camp. He's right, but I was in America at the start of a 3-week holiday, family holiday, which I knew I wasn't going to start properly training until basically last week and this week. So for then, I would have had a 6-7 week camp, I think it was. And Optai is a very, very, very good fighter, but I don't think he's as good as the hype at the moment, in terms of his only name on his record is Breedis. A very good name, but what Breedis was it? You got the second fight was a very old Breedis. The other one had been out for a while as well in the first fight, and there was rumours he was ill and stuff. So what Breedis were you getting? Definitely not a prime Breedis.
I'd wager that the version of Maris Breedis that Jai Opataya fought would beat every version of every fighter that Chris Billam-Smith has fought. Every version of every fighter that he's fought so far. That even if he was past his prime and he was an older Breedis, he was still a better fighter than every fighter Chris has encountered.
Chris Billam-Smith, WBO champion, who's rumored to be unifying titles with Zurdo Ramirez in his very next fight.
His Excellency Mr. Turkey LL Sheikh tweeted, I just got off the phone with my friend Oscar De La Hoya. We had a long talk, therefore I decided the Card of Latino night in Riyadh season with our partner Golden Boy will be on free TV networks and platforms all around the world. any TV network or platform and cable TV interested in this event, kindly connect with us in Riyadh Season and Sela, especially in Mexico and South America. We care about boxing fans. For that, this card is free.
Another example of how, in spite of the pushback that Turkey gets in the American boxing scene, he's not the bad guy. He's trying to restore boxing to its former prosperity, not just with big-time pay-per-views.
Take a look at the card that they're planning on putting on. Rumor has it that William Zepeda will be facing Tevin Farmer, Jose Ramirez will be taking on Arnold Barboza, and seemingly in the main event, Chris Billam-Smith will be taking on Zurdo Ramirez. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a unification fight. That's a unification match.
And for a regular show, a free show, a non-pay-per-view, that is a solid card.
And it speaks to everything that we have been hearing up until this point, that Team Opataya reached out to Team Billam-Smith for an October fight, but Chris said that he wouldn't be available. He'd only be available in November or December. This card is rumored to be going down in November.
Is that a sophisticated duck?
When Chris Billam-Smith passes on a Jai Opataya fight and fights Zurdo Ramirez, another champion at the weight in his place, is that a sophisticated duck? I'll be honest with you, I don't think the risks are the same fighting Zurdo than fighting Jai. With Jai, there's a chance he knocks you out. There's a chance he gets you out of there. Whereas Zurdo is not as concussive a puncher,
He's not as experienced at this weight.
As Jai Opataya. Jai has only ever been a cruiserweight fighting other cruiserweights, whereas Zurdo has fought as low as 168, as low as 175, that yes, one fight is riskier than the other, but I'm not complaining.
I still like that fight. Chris Billam-Smith versus Zurdo Ramirez?
If the rumors are true, and they're in the process of making that, and Chris will travel to America for that fight, I don't mind it. I like it. I think between Chris Billam-Smith's natural size and power and durability, that could be a very interesting situation for Zurdo Ramirez. I give the edge to Zurdo, because Zurdo, even if he's not as experienced as a cruiserweight as Chris is, he is a more experienced fighter overall, with a lot more fights, a lot more rounds in the bank. The changes that he's made, that he's more of a boxer now, or he can be, lighter on his feet, moving around, using the jab, setting traps.
And still capable on the inside. He's still able to defend himself and hang and bang on the inside. I think Zurdo wins the fight. I think he wins a points decision.
I think the fight that Zurdo just had with Arsen Goulamarian was a good rehearsal for the fight he's about to have with Chris Billam-Smith, if he is in fact about to have it, because an order came down not that long ago for Zurdo to satisfy his mandatory challenger, Uniel Dorticos. Perhaps they're still in the process of situating all of that, and that's why we haven't heard anything official yet.
Maybe they're trying to get Uniel to step aside.
Would the WBA strip Zurdo Ramirez for not fighting Uniel? They'd be shooting themselves in the foot, because you're not going to make any money off of Uniel and his fights. It's Golden Boy and Zurdo that are in bed with the Saudis.
If you strip him, you lose out on that Saudi money, those sanctioning fees.
So we'll see what they do. If they do it, this unification match